Hello everybody and welcome to the Rare Air Football Preview Show. I'm your host Luke Jackson alongside Harris Hicks and Peyton Gallagher. Guys, we're going to jump right into it. Every year there always seems to be a few teams who gain a sudden large amount of wins. Harris, who do you think that's going to be this year?
Well, there's a lot of teams who I was thinking of. My thing is the New York Giants. I think this is pretty obvious. They went 3-13 last year, and they may have added the best running back prospect ever, Saquon Barkley. And another one is the San Francisco 49ers. They signed Jimmy Garoppolo to that huge extension, or huge contract, and I think he's worth every penny of it. This guy was 5-0 as a starter after the 49ers have struggled for years after Jim Harbaugh left to find a quarterback.
I mean, those are both good options. I've got kind of a controversial one. I would like somebody to tell me why the Browns can't be really good other than the fact that they're the Browns. They're good at every single position on the field. One of the best offensive lines in football. Carlos Hyde, Duke Johnson, Nick Chubb, one of the best three-headed monsters in the game. Tyrod Taylor's going to manage things, and if he doesn't, you got Baker Mayfield, the #1 overall pick, sitting in that QB room waiting to go. You got Flash Gordon, maybe the best receiver in football when healthy and not smoking weed. He's super talented, led the league in receptions and yards that one year where he got thrown to by Connor Shaw, among other quarterbacks. So Josh Gordon's going to be great. Aside from that, you got Coleman, Jarvis Landry, great defense. Denzel Ward, even though I think it was a reach, should contribute to that defense. Myles Garrett, full year back. Really like the Browns, and that division's very weak right now.
Yeah, the Browns might win a game this year. Every year, guys, there seems to be a team that does the exact opposite of what we were just saying. A team that completely falls off and disappoints all of their fans. Who's that going to be, Harris?
Well, I think this is pretty obvious. Again, it's going to be the Buffalo Bills. I mean, they lost Tyrod Taylor, and Josh Allen is reportedly taking third-team reps. That's a very alarming thing for the Bills. Also, LaShawn McCoy is involved in those domestic violence issues.
One of the weirdest things that I've seen.
Yes, that's going to be very, very, very bad for Buffalo if those come out to be true. So.
It's an interesting debate to have. There are a lot of teams that seem like, kind of like, if you were going to compare it to Clippers of like the NFL, where they're good but not quite good enough, and maybe they blow it up, and I don't know. Shelf lives for NFL teams are a lot shorter. I think the Titans are in a lot of trouble right now. Avery Williams is allowed to walk essentially for nothing. Williamson, pardon me. But Williamson's gone. I think Williamson may have been their best player. Very much so the most underrated guy in the NFL, certainly amongst middle linebackers. He's gone. You got to deal with Derrick Henry, who had flashes, sure, but
yes,
knees kind of exposed and high volume rusher. Not so happy about where he's headed, and I just don't think Marcus Mariota is very good, to be completely honest with you.
Well, here's the thing. I do have a comeback on that. Nobody thought that Jared Goff was good.
I still don't think Jared Goff is good. So no.
I mean, Jared Goff is a clear top 10 quarterback by fantasy owners and by NFL standards.
No, he has Sean McVay.
Your opinion is very, very unpopular in that area. But here, I do have to say this. I do see where I can't see your thinking. Avery Williamson, I agree with Peyton, was maybe the most underrated defensive player in the NFL. But the Titans did draft a solid linebacker from Alabama, Rashaan Evans.
He played like 4 games.
And yes, he did. But Rashaan Evans, everyone knows his upside is insane.
Sure, but in order for that to be a thing that happens for the Titans, he kind of has to be on the field.
And
the Titans, guys, they seem to be gaining and losing things on both sides of the ball, but we need to move on. So let's move on to something that you mentioned, Harris, about Jared Goff, fantasy. Now, what are some guys this year that you think fantasy players might want to pick up?
Well, Joe Mixon is my opinion. My guy. I don't really see where the Bengals improved or did anything to convince me that Joe Mixon could have a breakout second year. You saw last year he really struggled, averaging below 4 yards per carry. And you saw also Mixon did have a good game, but that was against the Browns. That was his best game of the year, and that takes away a clump of his fantasy points. The Bengals have added not many assets to this situation. I don't really see Joe Mixon breaking out.
I'm going to go deep digging in the crates here for this one. Chad Williams. Remember the name. Could be a big swing and a miss here for me. Chad Williams, Arizona, got really good running back. got really good quarterback potentially between Sam Bradford and Rosen. You assume that get a decent guy there. They have no receivers outside of Larry Fitzgerald. And yes, they drafted Christian Kirk, but Chad Williams is a guy they drafted in the second round out of Grambling State. To go so high on a guy, didn't even play Division I football, means he's got promise. So I went and I looked at the tape. Terrific. High point receiver. Much like Mike Williams, can go up, get the ball, good route runner, very athletic. He's been working very hard this offseason on his game, the likes of Chad Ochocinco and a few other great receivers. Really think Chad Williams can be a guy that nobody knows about at the start of the year, and everybody knows his name by the end.
And keep in mind, the Cardinals do have a gaping hole at their second.
Exactly.
Receiver.
Larry Fitzgerald, and it falls off a
So
cliff.
he could really get that position and run with it.
Well, that's all the time we have here today. This has been the Rare Air Sports Show. I'm Luke Jackson along with Peyton Gallagher and Harris Hicks. That's all we have for today.